A question we get asked a lot here at GCN is, will riding more miles make you a better rider?
Well, guess what? You're in luck, because in this video, we're going to answer that very question.
Oh, brilliant. Let's go, Alex.
Let's go.
Woohoo!
First off, we need to know why you would ride more miles and how it's going to make you a better rider. It's going to be great if you're new to the sport or just haven't ridden for a while. Equally, it's also going to be great if you're a relatively low annual volume rider.
Yeah, it might be that you just had a major layoff and had time away from the bike, or it might be that you want to increase the longest duration of your longest rides from maybe 100 kilometers to 100 miles. Riding more miles will help you to build your endurance, which is the foundation of being a better rider, but it's important to structure those miles so that they're not wasted.
So what are the scientific benefits behind riding more miles? Well, it's going to increase your muscular endurance. Endurance rides are also going to increase the number of mitochondria. These are subcellular structures within the muscle where energy is produced.
Riding more miles will also improve your VO2 max. Although that might sound contradictory, riding at a moderate pace for a longer duration will actually increase the maximum amount of oxygen your muscles can consume when riding flat out.
You're also going to improve the efficiency of your heart. Endurance training will improve the stroke volume of your heart, which means it's going to be able to pump more blood around the body.
Riding long can increase your neuromuscular efficiency when pedaling. Power is a function of the strength of the muscles, but it's also a coordination of the firing pattern of the nerves. So you activate your muscles at the right time and go forward with less wasted energy.
Endurance training is going to increase your body's ability to burn fat as a fuel, saving those precious glycogen stores for when you need them most. Unfortunately though, it's not going to automatically result in weight loss. It's still a simple case of calories in versus calories out.
Sometimes it's not the case that riding more miles will make you a better rider. It's not always that simple. You may have a really good endurance base already and your body will retain those benefits from season to season. So if you've had an active off season, for example, and then you return to the bike, well, it's not going to take you that long to get your endurance base back.
But what about those of you who are a bit more time crunched? Is riding more miles really going to benefit you that much? And is it going to make you a better rider? Well, it all comes down to the type of riding you want to do and the areas you want to improve the most.
If you are a beginner rider, of course, riding your bike for longer is going to make you a better rider.
But if you're a time trial specialist, you probably shouldn't solely concentrate on getting more miles in, unless of course you're going to do time trials that are sort of 50 to 100 miles long. Our bodies are pretty impressive, adapting to the demands that we put them under. Therefore, we're going to make the biggest improvements in the areas that we train the most.
Yeah, and just remember to have a purpose for those miles and understand the reason for why you are actually riding longer. And don't just feel you have to do it for the sake of it.
You could get to the point where you're trying to ride too many miles, so don't try and ride hundreds of miles every day.
Yeah, and when you do start to ride more miles, make sure you fuel yourself properly and avoid the dreaded bonk when you run out of energy mid-ride.
Yeah, make sure you take plenty of food and drink and money to buy those emergency snacks.
Also consider rest. This is even more important when your body is fatigued from those longer days in the saddle. So give yourself time to rest and recuperate. And don't worry, your form, it isn't going to disappear overnight from a few days off the bike, so don't fret it. But Alex, I meant rest after the ride, not in the middle of it.
I'll tell you what, after that climb I needed a good rest. Whew. Traditionally, pro riders would spend the winter months completing their aerobic endurance training, and this will build the foundation for their race seasons.
Yeah, and pros ride a lot, and I mean a lot of miles, and they'll also combine some high intensity work towards the end of the winter. And the reason they're doing such large volumes is because their races are so long. They're 200 kilometers plus in length, and they have to perform at the end of such a massive mammoth day in the saddle.
Maybe that's where I was going wrong when I was a pro. I think I just spent too much time resting.
Well, I did tell you earlier, Alex, it's a serious training day today. You can't be rested in the middle of a ride.
Sorry, mate, sorry. On the other hand, track riders won't tend to ride anywhere near as much miles as pro road riders would. They tend to concentrate on those much higher intensity efforts and less time spent on endurance rides.
Yeah, and track riders, well, they'll hardly touch a road bike unless it's a cafe ride, and, well, they definitely won't touch one in the winter.
What do you mean? Rude.
If you're new to cycling and want to start upping your game by riding more miles, here are a few handy tips.
Up your miles gradually and don't just suddenly decide to start riding long every single day. You want to have a bit of progression up to those longer duration rides. So maybe add on 5 or 10 miles to your longest ride each week and go from there.
Yeah, and if you did try and take on 100 miles without building up to it, you could have a terrible time and find yourself out for hours on end. And let's face it, you might not get back on your bike again. We don't want that.
I know, we don't want that at all, Alex. Fueling is also an important part of riding long, so you want to try and take on some nutrition every 30 or 45 minutes, something like a banana or an energy bar, maybe not a massive chocolate cake there, that's quite hard to digest.
Yeah, it's probably not best.
Yeah, I did that once.
But remember, it's too late if you already feel hungry. You should have eaten already. So don't leave it till you feel hungry, have a little snack just before. Anyway, it's all about having fun, and more miles on the bike is going to allow you to take off and have a sense of adventure.
Oh yeah, definitely, that's my favourite part about riding long. But let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Do you prefer riding long miles, or maybe your favourite ride is a shorter one? And while you're down there, please, if you did enjoy this video, give us a big thumbs up. Right, me and Alex have got quite a long ride still to complete now.
Better get cracking.
Yeah, gotta keep
100 miles,
shape.
come on.
Oh, he's going fast already. Thanks for watching, everyone.